A mature woman, Nancy, arrives at a hotel room, to which a few minutes later a Leo boy arrives who assures her that they will have a great time by asking her before they start to open a bottle of champagne. He then asks her what her fantasies are, telling her just to have sex. Before I continue, I ask you to give a like to the video and subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, and you help me to continue bringing you more stories. Thank you. Let's continue. After which she asks the boy if he has disappointed her, answering the boy by kissing her. But she's so nervous that she tells him they'd better do it now, although Leo tells her they can talk. Nancy tells him that she's never hired anyone for that, and thinks it will be a disappointment to him. And she confesses to him that she's never had an orgasm, not even alone, assuring him much that she will not get it, and that she is not willing to pretend, because when her husband passed away, she said she would not do it anymore, and that he will be, in fact, the second man she will do it with in her life. He asks her if she thinks she is betraying the memory of her husband, saying she is not. She tells him that she doesn't understand why she is doing that, telling him that with the money she earns, she is paying for college, although she later admits that she is not, that she is just making a living. He starts kissing her neck and then begins to take off her clothes. Nancy asks him what happens if he is not attracted to the other person, saying that there is always something that attracts him and he does not need any pills, that he has slept with other mature women, even with some already old, having one. In fact, 82 years old. Of her, he tells her that he likes her mouth and the line of her neck. She asks for a moment to go to the bathroom to change. In the meantime, Leo unfolds his shirt and takes off his pants, waiting for her on the bed, although as he is late, he opens a bottle of whiskey and eats a chocolate bar. She finally gets out of bed with a jump out of bed, although a moment later, she tells Leo that she has changed her mind and doesn't want to do it. She'll pay him though, asking why he hired her if he didn't want to, saying it was a moment of transient insanity. But he doesn't believe her. He tells her he's sure he spent days thinking about it. She says weeks, months, even years, saying it wasn't a moment of transient insanity. He is also sure that she will have suitors, recognizing that she does, but that they are older if she needs a young man, and for that she must pay. She does not quite understand that an intelligent person works in that, for she is a teacher and has observed during their talk that she uses a cultured language, asking him if he thinks that this is not a job for smart people. Leo confesses to her that his mother thinks she works on an oil platform in the North Sea. She can't help but laugh heartily when she hears this. She tells him that her son is doing a master's degree, and she tells him that sometimes she finds her son boring and very predictable, like his father. She tells him that she also has a daughter with whom she doesn't get along, because he accuses her of being very cold. He asks her to change the subject, what she did in bed with her husband, telling her that he took off his clothes. He touched her breasts and made love, always following the same ritual and always in the prisoner's position. Having never performed oral sex, he asks her if she feels like doing it, telling her that she has always felt like doing it. He takes advantage of this moment of confession and relaxation to kiss and caress her. Second encounter. He says that it is a surprise that she hired him again, telling her that she did it because the previous time she was satisfied with their encounter. But for that encounter, he says he prepared a list of things he would like to do. Oral sex 69, her on top and doggy, telling Al that it is very doable, telling her that he has no reference if he wants to do it all. Well, it's very expensive, and she doesn't know if she can afford another session. He asks her if there isn't something else, like getting an orgasm, assuring her that he doesn't trust her, telling her that she has to let go of what's holding her back. They are interrupted by a call from Nancy's daughter to tell her about a problem. Then, seeing her tense, he decides to put on some music and asks her to dance as if he's not looking at her at all. And although it takes her a while to get started, she finally lets loose, although she interrupts her daughter again, acknowledging that she is incapable of hearing her being called and not picking up the phone. After the call, he decides to give her a massage to relax, asking her to take off her shirt, after which he asks if he can touch her. He starts by touching her shoulders and back, then her arms and breasts, although she then apologizes and feels out of breath, so he drinks a glass of champagne. She admits that she has never touched someone like him before. He makes her stand in front of the mirror, telling her that she has always felt ashamed. She then tells the boy that she thinks they need a war because every generation has had one, and her generation feels inferior to the previous one for not having had one, telling him that his brother is in the army. He proposes a role-playing game involving sex, with her playing the role of a teacher. But she doesn't like the game, telling him she just wants to play it feeling young, to feel the power of 16 again. She tells him later that she's afraid that when she performs oral sex, she or he won't like it, and she feels self-conscious, Leo telling her that maybe she just needs to talk, that he has other clients like that. Philosoph on whether it should be legal and regulated sex, saying that everything would be more relaxed and people would be happier. After the talk, she already makes the appeal, his face being one of satisfaction. Third encounter. This time, it is Leo who performs oral sex on her, who, although she does not achieve orgasm, tells him it is pleasurable. He crosses the two off the list of his desires after that. She asks him who he is when she's not around, although he doesn't want to talk about his life outside of work, despite which she insists and tells him that she has found out who he really is, because she researched on the internet and knows his name is actually Connor. He says he has boundaries and she has not respected them. So she asks him not to keep hiring him and decides to leave. She says she thought they had trust and could be friends out of there, though he tells her that's called cyberstalking, that he is offering a service and a fantasy. She tells him that if he will tell his mother what he does, she would understand. She offers to talk to the woman. The boy tells her that he is dead to his mother. She asks what he did to her, and the boy leaves, unwilling to talk further. She returns a moment later, after realizing that he left his cell phone behind, seeing that he is very upset. The boy then tells her that his mother disowned him and left him alone at the age of 15, because he disappointed her. Well, he was just like her. She did everything right, but she never got to know him. And if she did, she didn't like him and tried to hide her disgust, even though he felt it and made her see that it wasn't what she expected of him. He leaves again and tells her he will pay her back. For encounter, Nancy is waiting in the hotel bar for the boy when she is recognized by one of the waitresses, Becky Foster, as she was his ethics teacher, telling her that he must not have taught her well, as she is working as a waitress. When Leo arrives, he tells her to disguise that he is going to sell her a car. She confesses to him that she thought he wouldn't go. She tells him that sexual satisfaction makes her potent, and she has felt more alive and empowered as she sees her friends deteriorating, and thinks he is right, that it should be a public service, and she has recommended it to friends she thought needed it. She tells him that her name is actually Susan Robinson, laughing at the irony of it being Mrs. Robinson, and that, as she told him in the other encounters, she never did anything interesting or noteworthy, and it's the only adventure, and the only adventure, and the only freedom she's ever had, and he wanted to thank her for what she did for her. When she serves him, Becky tells him that she wasn't a bad teacher, but your throne, and once he got them together, and told them they were bitches, and that if they looked like it, they would treat them like it, and she remembers making them repeat the word with license. Leo explains that he told his brother what he was doing, and, although he told him that he already suspected it, he was surprised that he told him, although he knows that his mother would never talk to him about what happened. She tells him that one night she invited some friends over, and she showed up with a neighbor, and saw them all hugging, exploring each other, and felt humiliated and embarrassed. Noticing that she is bashed, she left and told everyone that that was the day her son died. Susanna tells him that time heals everything, telling him that a couple of years before she saw him on the street and pretended not to see him. After apologizing to Becky for calling her a bitch, telling her that she was trying to protect her and thought she was doing the right thing, she confesses to him that she hasn't gone to buy a car, that Leo is a sex worker and they have been sleeping together for several weeks, and you should know that pleasure is a wonderful thing. She then tells him that they should go up to the bedroom because she wants to try a couple of things. This time, the guy accosts her as soon as they go upstairs and they try all those new positions she wanted to know. When they finish, and while he is looking for a vibrator, she looks at him, and looking at his body she starts masturbating, getting her orgasm. After that, she tells him that she thinks that must be the last time they see each other, and that she is glad she hired him, after which she says to God, wishing him good luck. When she is left alone, she stands in front of the mirror and undresses completely and touches herself monthly. She looks at herself shamelessly and smiles. If you like this, subscribe, as I will upload more videos like this.